Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Clark, research analyst with Money and Markets, and today I'm sitting down, as I do each and every week, with Green Zone Fortune's co-editor Charles Sizemore for this episode of Investing with Charles. And Charles, I'm going to take a little bit different track today, and the reason, there's a couple different reasons why, but let me get to the heart of it here. There's over the course of the last, let's just say, 100 years, there's always been something that creeps up that winds up transforming an industry. That one product, that one, that one thing that just revolutionizes everything. The strange thing about it, though, is if you look back at some of these revolutionary things, and we talked about some of them all offline before we started, the originators of that revolutionary idea aren't the ones who are getting the credit for it today. In terms of the stock market, they're not the ones that are seeing their stock blow up because of what they started. It's a lot of times companies or individuals who have taken this concept, this idea, and then expanded on it and made it even better. So while it's revolutionary in its scope, the end result winds up being much better. The only problem is that leaves that initial company or individual behind, because either they just didn't go all the way through with it, or they were just in a rush to make a profit off of their idea, sold it, and then the company that bought it made it even better. Whatever the case is.
It's more than that. It's that kind of revolutionary thinker, that guy that has that spark of genius. You've met people like that. They're wildly eccentric. They're usually not very good at running a business. They're great at coming up with ideas, but executing it's a different deal. You need a different personality for that. And I could rattle on examples of this all day long, but think of some major ones. Think about McDonald's. Like, there is nothing more iconically American and unhealthy, but kind of good when you're in the right mood than McDonald's. And you think you associate McDonald's with Ray Kroc. He's the McDonald's guy, right? No, the actual McDonald's guy, the guys that came up with McDonald's were the McDonald's brothers. Watch the movie The Founder. It's ironic because he really wasn't the founder, but the guys that started McDonald's were two brothers who had a revolutionary system that changed the way Americans eat. Fast food was really a new concept. They basically made assembly line food, and they weren't doing anything with it. They had a couple branches, and that was it. Ray Kroc found them and said, "Oh my gosh, this is a money-making machine that needs to be exploited." He basically, kicked them out and took over and took McDonald's to the, heights it is today. Going to find another example. Look at Microsoft. We use Microsoft products every day. I use Windows PCs, Microsoft Office, etc. None of that stuff was original. Bill Gates never had an original idea in his life. The very first thing that he sold was DOS. Before we had Windows, we had DOS for the old timers out there like us. That he didn't write it. Some other programmer wrote DOS. Bill Gates just bought it and then promptly resold it, or I guess relicensed it to IBM. And that was the start of Microsoft. Microsoft Windows. Microsoft Windows started out as a cheap copy of the Macintosh. Bill Gates saw what Apple was up to and said, "I want that," and basically copied it for all intents and purposes. And then, of course, Windows went on to bury Apple. Now, Apple came back decades later with the iPod, later iPhone, etc. But Apple as a computer company was essentially buried. They had this revolutionary idea of the personal computer, this computing, taking it out of the laboratory and into someone's house. This was all Apple's doing, making it user friendly with the GUI interface, the mouse and all that. That was all Apple. And then Microsoft comes and just blows them out of the water by being just brutally efficient with it. Even Microsoft Office. Microsoft Word I didn't learn Microsoft Word as a kid. I learned WordPerfect. Microsoft Word came and knocked that off its pedestal. Excel, this is a bit before our time, but before everyone knew what Excel was, before Excel was ever around, spreadsheet programs existed. They were more primitive and mostly just the domain of engineers and whatnot. But I believe VisiCalc was the first spreadsheet. So, even now, what does Microsoft do? They're primarily a cloud company. Well, they ripped off that idea from Amazon. So, like Microsoft is a fine example of, they're not the Luke Skywalker, they're the Darth Vader. They're someone, they're not this spark of hope and newness, and they just come and take over, right? But that's great. Had you invested in Microsoft really at any point in the last 20 years, you'd be sitting pretty right now. Like those companies are the ones that ultimately survive and ultimately consolidate the revolutions of the revolutions in business.
Now, as we look today, there's a company that comes to my mind only because I know we've talked about it at length, in several other videos. We've talked about it stock. We've talked about all these types of things. But in terms of just kind of fitting this mold here, one company that comes to mind here is Tesla. And I say Tesla because, you have this emergence of electric vehicles. Tesla is the name. I mean, there are others. There are a lot of others, but Tesla. When you say EV or electric vehicles to someone,
Tesla. That's what comes to mind.
Odds are the first thing that comes to their mind is Tesla. However, that doesn't necessarily make it the best EV company out there. And I want to get your thoughts on that, and kind of bring it back to this idea of initial revolutionaries who don't necessarily who have a great idea, but then someone comes along and makes it even better, thus makes the profit for not only themselves, but for their investors.
Yeah, well, it even goes beyond EV. I mean, Tesla is also a leading artificial intelligence company, autonomous driving, all of that futuristic car stuff, right? Space at this point. Well, no, that's not really Tesla. That's Elon Musk, SpaceX and all that. But the same people. I mean, at this point, can you really distinguish Elon Musk from Tesla? And that actually brings up another problem. Elon Musk, I mean, he's the guy we all, like every kind of sci-fi nerd like me that grew up watching Star Trek, we all want to grow up to be Elon Musk. I mean, the guy made a cameo in The Big Bang Theory, for crying out loud, and that was so much fun. But anyway, I just got so enraptured in Star Trek. And
you're all tied up in Star Trek.
No,
Elon Musk is someone that people emulate, that they want to be like. They want to be like him in terms of wealth, like him in terms of innovation, perhaps.
Innovation, well, and just kind of eccentricity. Robert Downey Jr. based the Tony Stark / Iron Man character. I mean, that character has been around in the comic book since the 60s, but like the movie representation of that, he based it on Elon Musk. Yeah, that's so you can imagine Elon Musk flying around in a rocket, Iron Man suit. That's actually not at all. If that technology really existed, he'd probably be the one testing it out, right? But all of that innovation, that spark, that all the things that make him interesting don't necessarily make him a good manager. And if you look at how he runs Tesla, it's almost like a toy for him. He just likes to have fun with it. And I don't think that really serves the Tesla shareholders that well. I think over time, Tesla is going to likely lose relevance here. And already you do see the major automakers gunning for Tesla here. This is something that Adam and I really focused on in our monthly newsletter of Green Zone Fortunes. We really looked for this theme, like this massive, just macro theme that's going to be around for a while, potentially decades here. This major macro theme, you identify that, this electric vehicles, this autonomous driving, this is actually two themes in one that is going to be with us for a long time. But then once you identify that theme, you got to drill down, like what's the best way to play it? And we looked at Tesla and we said, absolutely not. Tesla does not meet our criteria. I mean, the stock price, who knows? It may double from here, it may triple, it may go up by a factor of 10, it may go to zero. I mean, like we'll see what happens. But it doesn't meet any of the fundamental criteria we look for. Right? The company is largely not profitable. I mean, like that's a big problem. A company at this stage of development should be turning a decent profit by now, and they're just not. They've never really been able to produce at scale. They've never really been able to meet deadlines. They've never really been able to do all the things you really need a world-class company to do. So that led us to look elsewhere. And we actually found a traditional automaker that we really believe is going to beat the pants off of Tesla. We think they are going to emerge as the king of electric vehicles and autonomous driving and the rest of it. We think this is going to essentially out Tesla, not because they're original. They're not. Tesla was the original one here. but because they're better at execution. Like that's what it boils down to. Like somebody else can think up the ideas and that's fine. But if you can execute them better, then you're going to be the winner.
And so the circle back, the story here is that when you're in investing, when you're trying to build your portfolio, when you're trying to make money off of the stock market, which we all are. That's the point. Our point is not to just throw money away, although sometimes it kind of seems like we do. But that's what we're here for. And you're wanting to spot those, the next trend, the next big thing. Is it solar? Is it wind? Is it infrastructure? Is it is it EV? Is it semiconductors? What is it? It's very easy to look at the first name on the headline, the first name that comes to mind. That's the very easy play. The challenge here is to find that hidden gem, that company, like you said, that can be able to take this great idea and execute it better than that top of the name, top of the list name that probably isn't. And I agree with you. I think in Green Zone Fortunes, I think we found one. I think it's a great company, has potential to do a lot of great. It already has done a lot of great things, and I think it's got the potential in this space, in this EV space, and even dovetailing into autonomous driving. It has a lot of potential to be that Microsoft of PCs. Not necessarily the originators of the idea, but the ones who take the idea, execute it, and make it better. And sure. That's where you're going to find the profit. That's where you're going to find the money. That's where you're going to find a double digit.
Not just make it better
in your portfolio.
Not just make it better, but just do a better job of making it. Like there's a difference. Like making it better and doing a better job of making it are actually two different things, right?
Right.
You don't necessarily have to have the best product, although our stock has great products on that. But it's more about how you get it to market, how you execute on that. So, that's, again, going back to McDonald's. Is that the best hamburger you've ever had, Matt?
No.
Clearly not.
No. I like my girlish figure, so I tend to stay away from McDonald's. So
well, right. And if you are gonna pack on the calories, at least find something better than McDonald's to eat, right?
I'm probably going to find a different avenue to do it.
You're going to find a better burger somewhere else, right? So, I mean, there's a million burgers out there that are orders of magnitude better than McDonald's, but McDonald's is the one that is, the king of burgers because they just execute better, like they run a better business. So, that's it. That's what you look for.
So I would encourage anyone, if you are interested in finding out more about this, find out more about Green Zone Fortunes, you can do so by visiting our website, moneyandmarkets.com. And you can learn more about Green Zone Fortunes and maybe get in on this pick that Adam and Charles have come up with. It's a great pick. I had fun doing the research for it. It was a great idea. And I think the concept of finding that company that executes someone else's idea better is a great idea. It's a great concept to think about when you're looking at investing. Charles, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on and talking. We're going to have more of this. By the way, if anyone does have a question or a comment or anything like that, please feel free to send it to us. You can send it to us at feedback@moneymarkets.com, or you can comment down below here on YouTube. If we do use your question, or if you send a video of your question, that might put you at the front of the list a little bit, and we use that, we're going to send you some Money and Markets swag. So make sure you get that in. Again, it's feedback@moneyandmarkets.com. We got much more coming up, throughout the week. Don't forget to check out Ask Adam Anything. I get to sit down with Chief Investment Strategist Adam O'Dell, talk about a wide range of topics, the marijuana market update, the Bull and the Bear podcast. Our membership community is up and thriving as well. Just click join down below and find out how you can become a member of that as well. But we got a ton of stuff. Check out moneymarkets.com. We provide you safe, sound, smart, simple, profitable investment information each and every day. So Charles, I appreciate the time. We're going to look forward to doing it again next week. So for Charles Sizemore, Green Zone Fortunes co-editor, I am Matt Clark, research analyst for Money and Markets, wishing everyone safe trading.